Bonsoir. Welcome to the newcomers and welcome back for the others. We'll go on with the Passioneer Memoirs, Chapter 3, The Promise. Harry couldn't sleep that night. He had put the memoirs under his pillow after reading that. He didn't know who this Bellatrix was, or Orion, but he knew he hated them both more than even Sirius Black right now. In fact, for once, Sirius was exempt from it all. Since he was being held in place by a house elf, Harry didn't blame him for not helping his father. He simply couldn't. Harry had witnessed house elf power several times before. Once they worked their magic, you were screwed. Crying softly, he turned on his side, trying to sleep, knowing he wouldn't for a very long time. Had Professor Lupin been worth it? James seemed to have thought so. But then again, Harry didn't know much about Lupin, and, well, whose fault was that? A horrid thought entered his mind. Did Lupin know of this? Maybe that was why he didn't speak of gems. Maybe he had been trying to keep Harry in the dark about this, only to have Harry himself stumble upon the written works of James Potter. Well, that will be understandable, sort of. Harry lay flat on his back, watching the light come in, finally giving up on sleep. He sat up and buried the pages of James Potter in his trunk, under the cloak and several other things. Blurry-eyed and out of sorts, Harry went down to the common room. He was the first one out to go down to breakfast, though he knew it would be a while before he could eat anything. He sat at the table, poking at his food, looking up at the high table. He saw Lupin and Sprout both snickering at something or other they had been talking about. Harry turned back to his cold food. Hermione was looking at him, worrying. "Are you all right, Harry?" "I think that headache turned into a cold," Harry muttered. "Perhaps you ought to go to the hospital, Wang," Ron said. "Maybe," Harry shrugged. Hospital couldn't fix this. But he had no interest in going to any of the classes. He couldn't concentrate on them. Yet he dragged himself from class to class somehow. It wasn't until the defense against the dark arts that Harry paid much attention. Not to the lesson, but to the professor. Harry sat in the back row and watched the lesson go by in a daze. His eyes focused mostly on Lupin. Was it truly a werewolf standing there? He certainly wasn't a vicious, slavering monstrosity. Was it truly worth the price of stolen virginity, though? Did he even know? Despite the questions running around in his head, Harry knew that Lupin had been the best professor so far that the school had. If only he could take over potions, that would be great. Lupin seemed to have a way with the children, even some of the Slytherins. Then it dawned on Harry. He didn't know much about wolves, but it was a well-known fact that wolves loved puppies. "Oh, great," Harry muttered aloud, suddenly smirking for the first time since last night. "Oh well, better to be viewed as puppies than food." "Harry, can I have a word?" "Puppy. I'm a puppy, not food." Harry backstepped from the door and sat down at the desk he had been at through the whole lesson while the rest of the class filled that. Draco Malfoy was among them. "Oh, spot of trouble, Head Potter. No bullying in this class, 30 points from Slytherin." Lupin raised a brow at the blonde. Draco glowered, but said no more as he left. "I've been meaning to dock point from him for ages," Lupin said as he sat down backwards in his desk in front of Harry so that they were facing each other. "Now, what's wrong with you? You don't look well." "I just didn't sleep last night," Harry shrugged, yawning. "Hermione says you had a bad headache last night," said Lupin. "Why don't you go to the hospital wing?" "Nah, I'll be fine." Harry suddenly remembered what his father had said about his creator chewing on glasses. He promptly took them off and, squinting, noticed that Remus had cast a lingering glance down to them. "Harry, I know a thing or two about illness." Lupin finally looked up at him. "I'm extremely ill myself, as you may know. I can be wiped out in one night and then spend the next few days recovering." He leaned forward a little and took a piece of parchment off the Harry desk. "You look like you've been put through hell in a very short time." He began writing something. "Now, this is a note. You get the rest of the day off. Try to get some sleep." He handed it over. "You're too stubborn for your own good at times." "Thanks," Harry gave up. "I just might do that." He stood up. "Professor, was my father ever stubborn when he got sick?" "No, he was the whinest baby ever," Lupin smiled. "But your mother was a stubborn one, especially when she was pregnant with you. Oh man, don't get me started." Harry stared at him. "Ah, that's Lily looking back at me." Lupin stood up. "Now, off you go." "You'll have to tell about that sometime," Harry said, and they both laughed. Harry stood up. "Professor, do you know who Orion Black is?" Lupin's face went blank. "He was the father of Sirius Black." "Was?" "He's dead now," Lupin stated simply. "Long time ago." Harry unexpectedly felt a wave of relief so profound that he wavered on his feet. The one who had hurt his father so much was dead. "Harry!" Lupin grabbed him and pushed Harry into the nearest chair. "Take a moment. Then I'm bringing you to Pomfrey." "I'll be fine," Harry said. "Listen here, Lily." Lupin half smirked at the jest before going on. "You're going, and that's final. Please don't make me take a point from my own ass. McGonagall will never forgive me." "I'd much rather go to bed," Harry said. Pomfrey couldn't help him. "Harold James Evans Potter, you will do as I say." Yes, and you told me to get some sleep, so that's what I do." Lupin closed his eyes in annoyance. "Fine, sleep today, but if you're still out of it tomorrow, I will personally flip you over my shoulder and carry you to the hospital wing, fireman style. Don't think I won't. I did it to your father once during our 6 years. "All right." Harry gulped, wondering if his father had added the detail to his passion year journal. He stood up again. "One more thing. Do you know who Bellatrix Lestrange is?" Lupin's jaw ticked. "Where are you getting these names from?" I've heard people whispering some names, Harry shrieked. Lupin rolled his eyes. I guess the whole school is talking about Death Eaters, since we have one of the loose right now. He sighed heavily. She is one of Voldemort's main Death Eaters, probably right up there with Sirius Black. However, unlike Black, she, at least, is still in Azkaban. She is? Yeah, said Lupin. In fact, I myself helped put her there. Whoa! Harry stared off into the past for a moment. It was no less than what she deserved for her help in that rape. Lupin dug around in a pocket and produced a bar of chocolate. Found this today. It's a new one. Had to try it. The wrapper said Peppermint Dragon on it. He gave a piece to Harry, then had a piece for himself. Oh, dumb! He turned away, stamping his heel. Babies, that's got some kick. Oof. Careful, Harry. Should have known what was the word dragon on it. Harry wisely pocketed his piece, snickering. Professor Lupin was certainly one of a kind. He turned and headed for the door. Thank you, he said as he left. Lupin took it to mean for the chocolate, but Harry was actually thinking about Bellatrix in Azkaban. Having his day off, Harry returned to his dorm room and forced himself to get back into the memoirs. Maybe, now that the horror was past, it would be an easier read. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on my own Chesterfield, in my ass. Sirius was sitting beside me, wiping down my brow, with a damp cloth in one hand, and his eyes with another from crying so much. I stared at him. If he was crying, then it wasn't a nightmare. It was real. I tried to sit up a little. My body sized up in protest, making me scream. Bronx, Sirius said. Why didn't you change? Your dad's a professional werewolf killer, Badfoot, I pointed at. Harry blinked. Marauder number 3 done. So Black is Badfoot. Now, what is Badfoot? He was also wondering if and when Wormtail would show up. Creature had me immobilized. I tried to get to you. I couldn't move. Sirius put his head on my chest and burst into tears. I know, I gasped weakly, wondering if this is something of what Remus felt after being ripped apart every full moon. I've watched more than one of his transformations. It's a brutal mess being a werewolf. I put one hand on Sirius' head. Where's Mom and Dad? Still out of the Ministry of Magic, says Sirius. Won't be home until late. Good. I attempted to push Sirius off, but was too weak. That's good. Let me up. Jim. Sirius went back into his seat while I endured every stab of pain as I sat up. That hurt the most. I set my teeth against it. Help me stand up. James. Now! Sirius grabbed both my hands and pulled me up. I tottered forward and fell into his arms. I let him hold me while I suddenly cried into his shoulder for a good 10 minutes. Then I tried to move and nearly fell to my knees. Sirius held me up. What are you playing at? He demanded. James, my father nearly killed you. I know. I forced myself to walk forward a few steps, clutching the blanket around me. It was all I was wearing at the time. I'm going for a bath. I need to wash before my parents get home. As soon as they'll do, I send them over. I turned so sharply that the pain nearly killed me, yet somehow I kept on my feet. You will do no such thing. James, they're but horror. They won't stand for this. They won't know. I shot back. No one can ever know. What's done is done. Understand? No. Sirius spluttered through a new wave of tears. No, you can't do that. Watch me. He will pay for what is done. He will, just not now. James Bronx, your parents are horrors. Tell them. No. I punched the wall with the same hand used for the stairs earlier. It ruined the bandage Sirius had wrapped my knuckle with. No, we can't tell them ever. Why? Sirius fell to his knee, pleadingly. Sirius, it will tear them apart if they knew what was done to me. I was sobbing now, not for myself, but for them. They were too old. You know how they are with me. Only child, always fussing over me, spoiling me. I'm their pet, basically. They're old. My father isn't in very good health now. You know that. We have to do something, said Sirius. We will, I said. When I can move properly, we will take care of it. My parents are not to know. No one is. It's bad enough you do. Don't you understand what I'm feeling right now? I can barely look at you without feeling shame. My voice was cracked now. You were there. You saw me. I hate that. I hate it all. I can't. I was suddenly in his arms again. You're right. I saw it all, Sirius said. I hate it too. I couldn't move. I couldn't help you. I turned away from him and headed for the washroom, only to get stuck at the bottom of the stairs. How the hell was I going to learn how to handle stairs before my parents got back in a few hours? The black grim dog came to stand in front of me. Batfoot was bigger than even Mooney. A black grim dog. Harry had seen that sort of beast more than once now. Was that Sirius Black? If so, then Sirius would have had several chances to kill Harry by now. They were alone together the first time Harry laid eyes on the dog when he had run away from Private Drive. The dog was staring at him for a moment, but then took off. Something wasn't right. Mooney on full moons. He was half my stack size. He whined. I shook my head. James, Sirius reappeared. Let me do something to help you. I need to learn how to move on stairs, I said. Help me with that. One step at a time. Sirius held me gently in his arms and led me up the first step. And biting, I cried out. I doubled over, trying to forget, trying to put my mind from my mangled body so I could walk these damn stairs. Again, I ordered. He helped me up on one step. I paused for a rest, then the next one. It took several minutes to go up half the stairs. Prongs, this is ridiculous. "We're not telling anyone," I snarled. "I don't want anyone else to know how I'd get here." I changed the subject. When Creature finally released me, Sirius began. "I kicked him so hard he was flung into my face. There was a bit of a fight, and I jumped onto you, and, well, I apparated us out." "How did you manage to do that?" "You'll be having your test on apparitions this coming term," I asked. Since his birthday was in November, Sirius was a year older than the rest of us, and he will start the lessons for it in the fall. "I taught myself ahead of time," Sirius shrugged. "I was planning to do that at the wedding and leave everyone hanging. But I was able to get away earlier and got friends for the full moon. Oh well, I still was able to in the end, didn't I?" I nodded mutely. By now, we were nearly at the top of the stairs, and I was starting to do them on my own as I gained a new feeling for them. "You hexed me, by the way." "What?" "That's what we're going to tell Mom and Dad," I said. "We were screwing around, and I got whacked, which is why I'm limping around." I finally made it to the washroom. It was nearly the same size as the prefect's washroom at Hogwarts. The bath wasn't the size of a swimming pool, though, but it was bigger than usual, and it had water jets in it, which would turn on if one stuck there one tip first into the slot. Sirius went to feel it as I stepped into the mirrors. My mother had very long hair, which still was beautiful even so. I was pale green now. Using the mirrors, she could see herself from all sides to do up her hair. Letting the blanket fall to the floor, I walked into the center and turned the 3-panel so I could see myself at any angle. What I saw nearly made me pass out. I was blurred back from the lower half of my back all the way down my leg. I had gouges on my chest and back from the stairs. My left hand felt as if I was broken from punching things, the knuckles bleeding as much as the scraps and bites Bellatrix had done to me. In fact, my cock was quite mangled and half swollen. Not in a good way. No, thanks to her, and I doubt that I could ever function properly again. Yet, despite all that, I was standing on tiptoe. That was Bronx. I wonder what he would look like, but I found I couldn't change completely, though I managed to get part of my racket. I couldn't change. Thank God the full moon was just past. I had to learn pranks again before the next full moon. I had months to heal as much as possible so the stack would come out. If I lose my stack, Moony would have to be kept either in the shack or deep in the forbidden forest, never to run free anywhere else again. My horns had driven him away from many villages. Some of the scars Remus bore were from pranks, not Moony. If I lost pranks, Moony would have to be imprisoned every night. Patfoot couldn't do it alone, neither could I. Wormtail was much too small to hold a werewolf at bay. I must find pranks again. Sirius helped me into the water. It was room temperature, so it wouldn't aggravate my wounds, and there was no soap to sting my open sores. He had put several towels down in the water, so it would be soft to lie on. He readied my hand bandage. Neither of us spoke for a while. Sirius suddenly stood up. I can make you a couple of potions to get rid of the swelling a bit and bring down those bruises, or rather it looked like one big one. I give you one for the pain too. He put a hand onto one of my horns sticking out of my head. The thing we do to keep our werewolf safe. I know I will die for him, given half a chance. That's likely, Harwin snarled. So will I. Sirius left. I heard him banging about in the kitchen downstairs for nearly an hour. He would check on me occasionally, but I was mostly left alone. That was what I wanted, to be alone. Maybe if I sat here long enough, I could convince myself it was just a horrid dream. Moving to a new position, however, reminded me of the reality of my situation. Every single movement. Sirius finally had 3 potions for me. I didn't feel any better after them, though. I suppose I was better. He helped me out of the water after and began to towel me dry, starting with my least injuries first. Sirius cast around for something to say as he stopped drying me off. He had missed a spot, but that was the problem. Should I? I had been watching him in the mirrors. I could see everything he did to me. I simply nodded, and after some hesitation, he finished drying me off, working up between my legs, his touch becoming more and more gentle. I trembled softly. Sirius threw himself away from me. My horns were still partly out, and he stared at them. Don't worry, I laughed softly at him. Bronx was just saying thanks. Okay, Sirius stood up, cracking his back as he stretched. Then he put the blanket on me again. Let's get you to bed. We can just tell your parents you weren't feeling well and went to bed early. Not far from the truth. I turned and walked on my toes toward my bedroom. The potions had done something as I could move a little, but it still hurt. You might want to pull your antlers in, Sirius said. I did so, but instinctively stayed on my toes. Sirius did that a lot as well, and we were both often asked why we were walking on our toes. We do it without realizing it. I forced myself to get under the covers and lay back. Sirius left to take care of the washroom. He finished barely in time as I heard my parents coming in. They were coming up the stairs. They were coming after me. Being hugged and cuddled right now was the last thing I needed. It would seriously hurt me. I was already damaged so much that my stag was twisted up inside me and couldn't move. Plus, I had little control over Bronx right now. Bits of him kept shooting out of me. I was illegal and I had no one but 2 hours for parents. How stupid I am. I felt a rising panic for a moment. Then I heard Sirius in the hall, blocking the way to my bedroom. Oh, sir, my mother cooed. I knew she was crushing him in one of her hugs. My parent liked Sirius and often muttered that he should have been born a potter, so he could be my brother, not just a cousin. I'm glad you stayed. We thought you might have gone home, my father added. Sirius, what's wrong? My mother asked. I heard Sirius crying. Oh no, he was going to tell them. I raised my head, barely in time to miss skewering the wall as my entire rack showed up. Huffing, I pulled it in and stared horrified at my closed door. Don't tell! Please don't tell! Can I move in? Sirius gasped between sobs. Permanently? Please! I can't go back home. Never again. My jaw dropped. Finally! I had already asked my parents more than once if we could make Sirius move in. After all, he basically lived here to begin with. But they said we couldn't make anyone do anything. Obviously, rape wasn't in their vocabulary. We had to wait for Sirius to ask. We knew this day was coming, my father said, after a moment. You can stay here for as long as you like. Forever, if you must. What has your father done now? Pure blood supremacy. Sirius snarled. I can't deal with it anymore. We had a fight. My wedding, you know? I heard both my parents cough. They knew Sirius would never go through with it. My dad, Orion, he hurt. Did he hurt you again? My mother said. We all knew what was going on in that ass. Orion Black used Crucio as his favorite form of punishment. Sirius was finally asking for help. Though it was for me, not him. At least it helped him too. After a while, they soon got to asking about me. Sirius told them I wasn't feeling well and was sleeping by now. I wish. I heard Mom mention something about making my favorite soup whenever I was sick and nearly threw up right there. That soup could never fix this. Nothing could fix this. After nearly 2 hours, Sirius entered my room. I'm all moved into the bedroom across from you. He sat down slowly on the very edge of my bed so as not to aggravate my injury. I already have all my stuffs back. Some here and the rest at Hogwarts. There's no need to go back. My bike's in your garage next to the ministry car your dad has. I put my hand over his as he went on. I won't ever tell. He covered my hand with his wand. I don't know how, Jim, but I'll find a way to heal you. I promise.